In this episode, we're going to learn to synchronize custom select lists from Jira to Azure Devops. To do that, I have set up an example where we have a field called weather that has 3 values: sunny, rainy, and overcast, as you can see in the drop-down field in Jira. And we want to synchronize this over to the Azure DevOps side into a field called Jira Weather. Now, the Jira Weather is also a drop-down field on the Azure DevOps side, containing exactly the same values as the Jira drop-down. If you aim to do this with values that are not the same on both ends, you can do that by creating maps. We'll cover that in the coming video. In this video, we're going to use exactly the same values on both sides. So again, the field called Weather from the Jira side is going to synchronize to a field called Jira Weather on the Azure DevOps side, and both contain exactly the same list of values. As usual, when it comes to synchronization problems, we should think about an outgoing party and an incoming party. So in our case, the outgoing side is Jira, and the incoming side is Azure DevOps. All right, let's go to the Jira Scripts and start with the same line we used to synchronize a custom field. I'll use the exact same line. So the idea is the same. You'll send over a field from Jira to the Azure DevOps side, but this time we'll call it Weather. And that's all that needs to happen on Jira or the sending side. Now this is where we've placed the actual field. So let's copy this because this will need to be received on the other side. Publish it on Jira, and we don't need to do anything else here. On the Azure DevOps end, you need to populate the received field into a field called Jira Weather. So I'll populate its value, and I'll paste in the variable name which we copied earlier, and I'm going to add .value to the end of this. Now, why am I adding .value twice? I'll explain in a little while. Okay, this is ready. So we pick up the value from weather, assign it to a work item custom field, and that should be it. Now let's publish it and test it out quickly. I'm going to select the weather as overcast on Jira. Exalate will pick this up and send it over to the other side, where this should be populated within the Jira Weather dropdown. All right, the overcast value has come through. Just to make sure that it's working, I'll change the value to sunny now. And again, the changes are picked up by Exalate and sent over to the Azure DevOps side. So we'll just wait a few seconds for it to arrive. And as you can see, we've established a one-way synchronization from Jira to Azure DevOps for this custom field that contains a select list. Again, note that the values should be the same. Now let me explain a little bit why I use the .value syntax when receiving the field on the Azure DevOps end. Let's go to the Entity Sync Status and have a look at the remote replica. My entity URL is 8682, and I want to look at the remote replica to be able to see what data is arriving from Jira. Now, what I'm mainly interested in is the custom fields, right? So you can see that the custom field weather is arriving, and it's arriving as a whole data structure. But let's concentrate on what the value is. So the value is sunny, but if you look more closely, you'll see that this value field is contained within another data structure field called value, and that is contained in this weather field. So the syntax should be weather.value. And that is why I used .value syntax to synchronize the custom select list.